Because if you're onboarding everyone with a pulse or closing everyone with a pulse, that's going to mess up with your collections rate. And if you're using your contracted revenue to set projections to know how much you need to spend on acquiring new clients, but then you don't collect the money, then you look at profitability and it's 0% or negative. High ticket space, online businesses, this is all brand new compared with other industries. There is very little regulation on the online education world, if you want to call it like that. You need to find a way to prove your claims. Right. So if you say, oh, anyone that works with us will be placed in a company to do X thing, cool. Do you have a solid tracking system?
Welcome to the Ethical Scaling Podcast, your guide to navigating online business with integrity. Join Jay and Ben on this epic journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or new to the game, get ready for insights, strategies, and a dash of humor. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your favorite spot, and get ready to deep dive into the art and science of ethical scaling. From client success to boosting lifetime value. Plus, learn how to turn clients into your best advocates. Ready to scale ethically? Let's dive in.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Ethical Scaling Podcast. And today what we're going to dive into is the future of business opportunity offers. And, we'll probably refer to them as Bizopp offers throughout this episode. But Jay, you want to, just kind of share a little bit about what you're seeing in the space when it comes to Bizopp and some of that?
I think it's important for us to explain how we look at those offers as well before we go all in and talk about the future of those offers. People are very used to think about offers as being business to business or business to consumer. That's normally B2B or B2C. And they tend to think about these offers as being B2B because we're helping them become business owners. But no, it's a B2C offer. You're selling straight to the consumer. Most of the people you're going to attract, they're not entrepreneurs or business owners, so they don't have the same mentality, the same mindset. That being said, that can explain what we see as the future of these specific offers. Now that you know that you're working with consumers and not business owners, these offers can work. But it's very important to be aware of what needs to change in the future to make these offers work. So one of the things we have found, because we work with a few clients that have Bizopp offers because they're very common in the marketplace. And one of the biggest challenges we've seen is like very low completion rates or very low success rates. They get acquisition dialed in, they get a lot of new clients, they have a really nice offer in theory, but then basically less than 10% of their clients actually graduate, if you will. They're not able to go through all the content, learn everything. And if you're teaching them how to start a business, more like a business in a box thing, or if you're teaching them how to be placed inside another business, the completion rates are very low. So if the completions rate are very low, you will struggle with a lot of the most important things you need in your business that will drive client loyalty. You want to have clients to spread good word of mouth. You want to get referrals. You want to get upsells or renewals. So all the things that are going to add profitability to your company are going to be missed because you don't have the baseline. You're not able to, and again, we're sounding repetitive, meeting client expectations.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like there's nothing wrong with a business opportunity offer, right? But what we're seeing is that markets are becoming smarter. Like, people are becoming more picky with where they spend their funds, right? And honestly, I think that's a good thing for the businesses too, because if you have to be better at delivery, right? If you have to keep your brand reputation strong through delivering on your promises, it's actually better for everybody, right? Because you have an accountability, right? There's a level of accountability. And, at the same time for these business owners, you do want to be a little bit picky about who you're bringing into your program, even if it means growing a little slower, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're serving the right clients and you're serving them well, we know what that means. It means profitability, sustainability, good brand reputation, all those kinds of things.
Because let's look at the business or these types of business holistically, which is what we do when we work with clients. One of my main concerns is that these businesses tend to be over leveraged. not very profitable.
Yeah.
But why? Low collections rate. When you're dealing with business to consumer with Bizopp offers, most of those clients don't have the funds to pay up front, or they don't have the trust and the certainty to pay up front, which is another possibility. So what happens, they will go on a payment plan, which could be, I don't know, 2 pay, 3 pay, 6 pay. And if they don't see results or momentum within the first 30 to 45 days, typically, they will just either ask for a refund or they would cancel. And we've seen numbers like 40, 50% collection rate. And what we mean by collection rate is you have contracted revenue and collected revenue. So basically they contract $1 million, but they're just collecting $500,000. So there's a big difference there. And if you're using your contracted revenue to set projections, to know how much you need to spend on acquiring new clients, but then you don't collect the money, then you look at profitability and it's 0% or negative or like 5%. That's not going to give you enough bandwidth, mentally speaking, because you're going to come from a place of scarcity. We don't have enough money. We're running on very tight margins. Yeah. What are we going to do? So there is a lot that needs to happen for these offers to work. And there is also another side of the coin, which is the regulation in this space. High ticket space, online businesses, this is all brand new compared with other industries. There is very little regulation on the online education world, if you want to call it like that. And we all know that the FTC is trying to set up like workshops, trying to find what they can do regarding regulation for what can be said or not said in marketing, what can be done or not done in the sales process. And you need to find a way to prove your claims. Right. So if you say, oh, anyone that works with us will be placed in a company to do X thing, cool. Do you have a solid tracking system that you can show the FTC that X% of your clients actually are placed and they are successful in accomplishing the things they want? Another thing, I think, Ben, you were talking about it the other day, is just making sure, even when you have case studies and testimonials, there are a few things you need to be careful with. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, disclaimers.
Disclaimers.
And again, guys, like we're not lawyers, so you always need to consult with someone who's an expert.
You should, maybe.
But yeah, my understanding is that when you have testimonials, you need to also have disclaimers on those.
These are not the average results. Yeah. This client did X, Y, Z. This is why they got this result, yada, yada, yada. So you just need to put yourself in a safer place.
Well, and here's something we talk about, you know, we have someone we're in talks with, they're probably going to become a client. It's like, you know, and they have this kind of offer and, you know, you gave them some great feedback, but one of the things was, look, if you want to play by the rules, take great care of your clients. Because if your clients are happy, they're not complaining to the Better Business Bureau or, you know, other agencies, right? And so like, we're going to talk about that in every episode, but take care of your clients, know their expectations, make sure you're setting the right expectations, manage the expectations. And, you know, you master that, you're going to be fine.
And instead of just always trying to promise more, which is what we see happening for these types of offers, it's like, cool, everyone is now running Bizopp offers. How can I make it more attractive? Let me promise more. No, go on the other side. How can I make it easier for them to reach out to goal? And how can I change the timeline to be a little bit faster? So the way for you to do that, there is no way you will make it work without a very solid delivery team and delivery system. So your system needs to be fully dialed in. You need to understand if you have multiple avatars or clients that go through your system. From what I've seen, because I've overseen now plenty of offers like that over the past 3.5 years, almost 4. There are typically 2 implementation pathways. You have the accelerated path and the standard path. So just making sure you have someone has more time and more energy and they can go faster. Cool. Put them in that pathway. And then you can set the right expectation for the Gen Pop, put them in the standard one, set the right expectation, and making sure that you have a team that can hold them accountable. One thing that I said early on in today's episode is that most of these B2C offers are attracting non-business owners. So they don't think like a business owner. They don't have the identity of the business owner. I hope they will after working with you. And I think you hope they will as well after they work with you. So they might require more handholding and accountability. And it's hard for me, based on what I've seen, so I'm talking from experience, to see it working with just group elements. Yeah. The typical offer that runs like this, and you guys have probably seen plenty, and maybe you have one, is that it's going to be, you have a group call, best case scenario, there are group calls during the week to go through different topics, or could be just Q&As or office hours. There will be maybe a group community, like a general community where people can engage and maybe, I don't know, watch videos and learn stuff. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's not enough for someone that doesn't feel like a business owner. They haven't been trained to be self-sufficient. Will they be self-sufficient at the end of the program? We hope so. That's what we train teams, and that's how we build systems with these type of offers to help them actually create that self-sufficiency, but they're not there yet.
Well, and I think we also see kind of the opposite scenario where people will come to us and they say, oh, we have one-to-one and we have a call every week with our client.
But they say, oh, but it's not scalable.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and like, it's actually not the best approach, right? Because one of the things that we do with our clients that's so valuable and vital is we sit down with them and we go, all right, take us through your client journey. Mm-hmm. Where are the typical peaks and valleys? Is your current support system based on that? And every time they go, oh, no, it's not. It's just kind of like random.
They don't even know what the peaks and valleys are. No one ever run them through that exercise.
And so once they get clarity on that, and, you know, we define red, yellow, green and all that stuff, then we build the touch points. And is there a one-to-one call? Is there a message? Is there something else? And when you do that, and you're very intentional about that journey and where the support happens and what type of support, that's the effectiveness, right?
And I think if you think about increasing profitability, you might not be able, like most listeners won't be able to connect the dots. Mm-hmm. So let's try to connect the dots here. Why do we look for peaks and valleys? Peaks will be opportunities for RGAs, revenue generating activities. Yep. The client is on the top of the summit. They're super excited. They're stoked. Cool. Can I get a referral? So if you get a referral, they won't be reaching out to complain about you. Mm-hmm. There won't be a chargeback. It doesn't make sense from a congruency standpoint as a human. You can get a testimonial. Again, very useful to support your claims. You can see if you can get a referral, because if they're excited and they're feeling like they're successful, and if it's a Bizopp offer, it can be easy to get referrals, because anyone might go through a Bizopp offer if they want to become a business owner, if they want that freedom, financial, time, location freedom. And then, depending on the peak in the client journey, it might mean that we can resell them on another package, like an extension. Or if there is another problem we can help them solve after the first initial one, that's the opportunity. But at the same time, again, RGAs will increase profitability. But by understanding the lows or the valleys in the client journey, we can prevent churn and lost revenue, which will lead to increased collections. Mm-hmm. So if I understand where we have inflection points, we normally take two approaches. The first one, if the inflection point it's completely unnecessary, we'll try to remove friction or the perceived friction to make it very easy for the client. But any offer, there will be parts of your offer where that's a natural inflection point. There is nothing you can do to change that. It's just part of the process. And if you just tell your client, oh, you just need to go through it, that doesn't give them the context. It doesn't give them the tools to be ready to deal with that. So what we do, we plan the touch points to happen around the time there is an inflection point, so that we can give our clients, depending on the client archetype, reassurance, support, make them feel seen, make them feel heard, normalize failure, and don't allow your clients to use failure as an identity. You're not a failure. You just fail. Something is not working yet. How can we rework it to make it work?
Well, and also when you really take the time to understand the peaks and valleys, you can give your clients like a peek around the corner, right? Like, hey, here's where you are. Here is the challenge that's coming around the corner. And when you do that with your clients, when they get into that, like start to see the valley or the challenge, they're like, oh yeah, Jay told me about this. This is what we talked about me doing when I get into that space.
And that's called, in psychology, it can be called preloading decisions, because you know the journey better than your clients.
Yeah.
Your clients don't know the journey. If it's a Bizopp offer, if they've never worked with something similar, they have no clue on how the journey looks like.
Right.
And what you're saying, Ben, I think it's very important, because then you can tell a client, hey, you will go through this. It can be more intense, less intense. I'm fine with that. But if you feel like this is what you should do.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. Send me a message. Send me an email. Click this link. Book a call with me. And you might say, oh, but that will add more one-on-one calls. But those one-on-one calls generate or save revenue. That are the ones that are going to increase success rates. Those are the ones that will get your clients to cross the finish line. That will put you in a much better position regarding FTC or claims, even increasing lifetime value. Because that's another misunderstanding for these offers, is that people got to know us because, hey, you're the back-end guys. You guys know how to create back-end offers and look at the business from the back-end, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. But for these specific offers, Bizopp offers, I think people want to rush and go immediately and start thinking about the back-end offer. Back-end offers will apply to volume. If you don't have a lot of people crossing the finish line, it doesn't matter if you have a back-end offer, because that can add a little bit to your lifetime value, but it's going to be tiny, because if you have 100 new clients and only 10 of them are crossing the finish line, and then you only sell one on the back-end offer, even if the back-end offer was like more, it was pricier than the front-end offer, when you dilute that on 100 clients, you cannot feel it. But on the other end, if you focus on the journey, focus on the systems, focus on accountability, and just increase your collections rate by 20%, which is totally doable, you're going to increase your LTV by 20% versus the example of chasing a back-end offer, where you're going to increase your LTV by 1% at max.
Yeah.
So I think we can share a story about a client of ours. They have a Bizopp offer. They're absolutely crushing it. Acquisition-wise, they're making multiple 8 figures a year. So they have a lot of volume. They have a lot of systems. We've been doing a lot of work together. And I think what's impressive to me is that they understood that it doesn't matter how much revenue we're making, we need to take care of our clients. We have a very challenging offer. We know that we're dealing with people are not business owners, and we really need to dial in things to set the right expectations.
And I think that's really important, is that if someone's going to come work with us, right, they have to be really ready to go all in on their client experience. You can't be like, oh, I kind of want to, improve things, I think.
Or I just want the back-end offer.
Yeah, like that doesn't work. And
well, we've been turning down those clients because based on past experience that we have, clients that come to us and their first goal is just to work on back-end offer.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the most successful experience for us as well.
Right. And it's not to say that you guys need to come work with us, but if you're going to dive into client experience and improving it, I don't care who it's with. If you're doing it by yourself, you have to be all in. Like, you can't kind of do it. It's because things will keep breaking. You're going to keep repeating the same stuff over and over.
And working on the backend side of things, it's upstream thinking. So you need to go up the river. You cannot just address the first symptom. You need to understand what's the core problem here so we can solve it and get rid of it forever. Yeah. And that's what we do is consulting. I'm not saying that you cannot do it in a different way, but we do consulting because we need to go to the core of the problem and get rid of it. So what this client is doing, which I think helps tremendously, is that their collections rate is above 80%. That's very healthy. And one of the reasons, well, first, they care about their clients. They have a very solid system. Everything is now getting super, super streamlined. Clients see a lot of value. The culture is amazing. They see a lot of wins. And also, they're very assertive with their payment plans. They don't give their clients the opportunity of, do a 10 pay. And I think you said that early on, they're picky with who they let in. Yeah. And their pickiness comes from who can afford us, which is a nice point of view. Like, if you cannot afford us with a 1 pay or 2 pay, we're not going to work together. And I know for some business, they might feel like, hey, Jay, so we have to turn a lot of people down. Maybe not. Maybe those potential clients, when you turn them down, you're coaching them on resourcefulness.
Yeah.
It's important. So I think we can elaborate a couple of takeaways for people to think through when they're looking at a Bizopp offer. So if you do have a Bizopp offer, or if you have someone you know has a Bizopp offer, feel free to send them the podcast. I think it's going to be helpful. But I think there are a few takeaways. So first one, top of mind for me, is that you need to be protected. Things are going to change. There will be regulation, and you need to be ahead of the game. We don't know clearly at the moment where the regulation is going to be, but one thing we know, if you have claims, you need to have something that can prove what you're saying is true and not just fake results. So you're not going to get in trouble. You need to track those things so you can show proof your claims, basically. That's number one. Number two, client results and client success. It's going to be the most important thing you need to get in place ASAP. And how can you do that? Well, first, having realistic expectations. Second one, having the right team in place, because your team will ensure that everything we're promising is being delivered. And then I would say third, in the short term, focus more on increasing cash collections. Collect more money based on contracted revenue to make sure that you keep increasing your profitability. And only after we get all these things in place, then you can start thinking, is there an opportunity for me to create another offer? Selling that offer to the existing clients. I've seen things in the past where you can't. It just doesn't work. And that's fine. Means that you can get collections to maybe 100% on the front end or 98% on the front end, which is amazing. So your main focus should be increasing lifetime value. And you can get creative with increasing lifetime value. But for me, you don't need to go crazy. Focus on getting clients to feel successful and they're going to pay on time. And again, when you say, oh, but after 30 days, my clients struggle to make a payment. So you need to revisit your sales process. Because if you're onboarding everyone with a pulse or closing everyone with a pulse, that's going to mess up with your collections rate.
For sure. All right, guys, that's all for today. We'll see you next time.